This episode of the Critical Careers Podcast is sponsored by CBRE. Hi, I'm Joyce Wady. Welcome to the Critical Careers Podcast. On today's show, we are fortunate enough to welcome Lizzy McDowell, Director of Marketing for Kao Data. In our conversation, Lizzy and I are going to talk about the Critical Careers Initiative, what a data center is, why they're so important in the world that we live in, and why we're looking to see more women come join us in the industry. We hope you enjoy the show.
Hi, Joyce. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm thrilled to have you here. So we've had a lot of conversations about critical careers over the last year. And I guess why don't we go ahead and take a step back for a minute? Because I think one of the things that part of the purpose behind the book was to help people who are not a part of the industry maybe understand and learn more about it and maybe try to understand why this could be a good place for them.
Mhm.
So how about if we take a step back and you tell me about what is a data center?
Fundamentally, a data center is a giant warehouse that is full of computer servers that basically powers the internet. We interact with a data center hundreds more times a day than we interact with humans. Every time you pay for coffee using contactless, you get an Uber, you listen to Spotify, you send an email, WhatsApp, you watch your favorite show on Netflix, you're interacting with a data center. So they are the bedrock of our digital world.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think that's an important point to kind of talk about a little bit because I don't know that people really understand that. They do seem sometimes like it's kind of this invisible structure that just magically happens in the cloud. But the cloud is a data center in a location that sits, in locations all around the world.
I completely agree. I mean, the amount of detachment that I think individuals have with regards to data centers is phenomenal.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure whether that's because as an industry, we've not done a good enough job of explaining what it is and how fundamental they are to our lives, or it's an inertia from the public.
Sure.
I think fundamentally, the public don't really understand that they are part of the data center conversation.
Sure.
I mean, there is a plethora. Every single day there seems to be another story criticizing the explosion of data centers or, some falsehood about the water usage or the energy consumption. We really need to change that narrative.
Yeah.
And we're all involved.
So, I mean, how can we help people understand how important digital infrastructure is to us? I mean, you've mentioned the things that the ways that we all use, carrying our phones and like you said, paying for your coffees and ordering an Uber and all of there's so many daily functions in the way that we touch it. How can we help tell that story a little bit more?
Well, I suppose it's a difficult one. Ultimately, I mean, I'm not saying it's the most exciting subject. I absolutely love data centers. I understand the integral nature they have in my world, in everyone's world. But I suppose it's not the most engaging topic.
Sure.
Are we going to knock Kim Kardashian off the headline news or Taylor Swift? Probably not.
Probably not.
But what I really want from the Critical Careers Initiative is just to spark that little bit of curiosity with people to just explore it.
Yeah.
I mean, at Kao Data, we are relentless in our production of content to dispel some of these myths, to really champion how this industry can be a force for good. We actually are launching, we have launched, we're just in the phase of relaunching our Kao Academy, which is engaging children at Key Stage 2 level to really understand that these buildings, they're not just buildings that are consuming loads of power and are ugly and are, this kind of silent aggressor in your neighborhood. They're not. These are phenomenal superhero buildings.
Yeah.
They're solving for cancer.
Yeah.
They are powering progress in every single form. They are, and linking that back to critical careers, they're also the basis for really lucrative careers.
Yeah.
I mean, you can have an extremely incredible life working in this industry. It's a global industry. It's connected. You meet so many different brilliant people. And we're at the forefront of change, really.
Yeah. Well, and that was, I think, as I was interviewing all the women for the book, I think that was one of the things that came through so loud and clear was the women, like part of the reason that the industry appealed to them was the criticality of it. People were referencing during COVID and how everybody was working from home, and that ability to stay connected was because of a data center. And those moments really reinforce for people how important they were and the work that they do on a daily basis. It actually matters.
Massively.
And I think I think that was one of the really interesting continuities that I heard from all the different conversations.
COVID, that's so funny that you mentioned COVID because, like, I think about that a lot. And I think ultimately the unsung heroes
Yeah.
of the COVID pandemic were these brilliant buildings.
Yeah.
I mean, for one, the vaccine was developed because of a data center.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
number two, we were all able to, well, mostly,
Stay in touch.
stay in touch, keep
Absolutely.
our jobs
Yeah.
and keep the economy going.
Yeah.
And if we hadn't have had a data centers or this industry
Yeah.
or the internet, can you imagine
How much more
how much more
isolating the whole
and how
experience would have felt for everybody.
catastrophic it would have
Yeah.
been?
Yeah. No,
So
absolutely.
I think it's definitely debunking some of the myths and just reframing
Yeah.
how important, how brilliant they are.
Yeah.
They can, I mean, at KO, we just use 100% renewable energy. That's kind of standard across the
Right.
industry now.
Right. There's a huge push and a very big concern about sustainability and how data centers and, even the biggest,
Yeah.
providers in the world are very focused on finding different, ways to power the data center, the renewable energy sources and all that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
totally. I
So
mean, and rightly so.
yeah. Yeah.
We have to be sustainable and protect the environment and always seek to reduce our footprint. There's no other option.
Yeah.
But what really grinds my gears is the fact that this industry is doing it day in, day out.
Yeah.
We are eating our own dog food. We're not just
Yeah.
making it up and
Yeah.
going,
Yeah.
we'll be sustainable and greenwashing stuff. We're actually finding ways and all constantly seeking innovation to reduce that impact that
Yeah.
we're having.
Yeah.
And that's just industry standard, and that doesn't get talked about anywhere near enough. So I think reframing it as well as these are powering progress. We can power that transition to renewable energy. We can guarantee and bulk buy that green energy.
Your story's really interesting because you are kind of the classic person that we really want to be talking to out in the world. You did not come from the data center industry. You admittedly did not know anything about it when you first came in.
No.
So kind of maybe tell us a little bit about that story of how you came to find, a place where you're really happy and thriving in your career.
Yeah, totally. No, you're completely correct. I had no idea what a data center was. Even after I was fortunate enough to secure this brilliant job, I still didn't know what a data center was. So on my first day, my wonderful line manager, Adam Nethersole, explained to me what a data center was. It was like Fisher Price, my first data center. I mean, it was an instant love for the industry, to be honest. But I never, ever, ever would have taken this job.
Yeah.
Had I not have gone through an incredibly difficult 12 months prior.
Okay.
I was in a role that I just really was not happy in.
Yeah.
It was not fulfilling me or stimulating me. But at the same time, I was also getting married, which, as I'm sure you're aware, can be quite a stressful time.
Yes.
And there was a lot going on. And also my cousin, who is my age, she was born 6 weeks ahead of me. She's my very best friend. She was diagnosed with a terminal illness.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Thank you. And it was just, it was. I mean, honestly, I was struggling. I wasn't sleeping.
Yeah.
It was very, very challenging. And I think it was maybe 2 weeks before I got married, I had this random call from a recruiter. I mean, I have to say, whilst I really wanted to leave my job, it probably wasn't the best time for me to be looking for a job.
But these things never happen when they're supposed to,
They never, ever go according to plan. So anyway, this recruiter popped up and it was this brilliant voice on the end of the phone. This girl called Robin, shout out Robin, I owe you everything, who was explaining this role.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was in this complete fuzz and all I heard was there's this amazing company. They are opening a site up in Manchester. My cousin lived in Manchester.
Yeah.
And I wanted to spend as much time with her as I possibly could. I'm based in London. And they are recruiting for this marketing manager role. It was a great salary. The benefits sounded really good. I said, oh my, I mean, this is just the worst timing, to be honest, because this sounds like everything I've manifested or dreamed of
Yeah,
in
yeah.
a role. Two problems, no clue what a data center industry is. And second, I'm getting married in like 2 weeks.
Right.
So she said, listen, that's absolutely fine. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to send your CV over to see if KO like you. If you could pull together, like, you know, just a very top line of what you're doing at the moment, that'd be great. So I did. Astonishingly, Adam picked up on my CV and he wanted to meet with me. So I had my first interview via Teams. Thanks, data centers. The Thursday before I got married on the Saturday. It
The
was.
fact that you were still working 2
Yeah,
days before.
yeah. I told you that job was really bad. So anyway, I had this. I clicked with him immediately. I mean, he asked me like what I'm crap at and what I'm good at. And I was completely honest. Like I was at my rawest version of myself. Like I had nothing to hide. I couldn't even muster up like a front at that point.
Sure.
And I adored him immediately. I adored the sound of the job immediately. I really wanted the job. Obviously, then got married.
Yeah.
Then went on honeymoon to Japan for 3 weeks. And I came back from Japan. They said, can you put together a presentation? I had 4 days to put together a presentation on a data center that didn't even know what it was. And then I had my second interview. I landed on the Sunday. I had my second interview face-to-face in London on the following Thursday. And I got the job before I got back home.
Yeah.
And it was, it's the greatest gift of my life. But I think fundamentally the crucial part of that story is had my cousin not have been gravely ill,
Right.
not have been based in Manchester, and not given me the impetus to go, Lizzy, you just need to say yes to this opportunity.
Yeah.
Like, I probably would have talked myself out of it. And I certainly would have gone, you know nothing about that world.
Sure.
You don't have any right talking about that world. You're never going to get it. They're going to see through you immediately.
Yeah.
So, yeah, having that kind of just say yes moment and doing something completely and wildly outside my comfort zone was so pivotal to my life.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy.
Yeah.
So happy.
Well, and that's the thing. Like like we said, like the things that are supposed to happen when things you want to happen when you think they're supposed to happen, rarely ever does. And taking that leap of faith and saying yes to the opportunity, even if you're not 100% sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it was interesting because in talking to all the women, that was another thing kind of that came up, was just how we as women approach our careers and how much we think we have to tick every box before we're ready to take that next step or to make the change into a different career. And that's not the case.
No.
You know, we can go ahead and take that leap of faith. And, you know, and in your case, like you landed someplace where you're like ecstatic about the industry that you work in. You're, you know, like you've met all of these amazing people that you work with. You get to be creative. You get to be, you know,
it's purposeful.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it touches every single thing about my passions. I mean, having this purpose, having it be so integral to people's lives.
Yeah.
Engaging with, you know, central government, local local communities, the way it impacts people.
Yeah.
It ticks everything for me. But yeah, I think that's so true. I mean, there is some ridiculous stat where it's like women see a job description and they have to be, what is it, 90% qualified for it before they consider applying for the role. Men see it and it's 60%. And I don't know how you change that, really, because that's probably like something that's a fabric of our human nature. And I'm not sure how you overcome that. But I think if you just break it down and it's small and you just go, okay, well, I'm just going to do one tiny thing outside my comfort zone.
I think exactly, because it's hearing other women say, oh, I don't have to tick every box on that, and people, you know, just kind of getting that approach of, all right, I can give it a try. What's the worst that can happen?
We're doing it.
Yeah, exactly. Like every day. I mean, it's absolutely, in the last couple of years, anytime something scares me, it's my signal to myself that it's like, okay, I actually really don't need to go do that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Listen to that. Listen to that gut. Because,
absolutely.
Yeah, it's scary, but how much growth you get from that.
Yeah. So given your experience and given what you've seen so far, I mean, you know, one of the things we purposefully did with the book was to showcase all the different roles and all the different types of functions. I mean, I don't know that people really realize that no matter what your passion is, there is a way for you to find a channel for that, you know, in the industry. I mean, you know, because we talked to marketing, sales, HR, real estate,
Yeah. Engineering.
engineering, site selection people, operations
End
managers,
users.
end users,
Yeah.
interns.
Yeah.
I mean, we really kind of covered the whole gamut
Policy.
of policy.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, if you think about that, I think there's such a stereotype that data centers are just technical.
Yes.
And I mean, I've always told people, I mean, I've worked in tech marketing my whole career. I have hired people fresh out of university, and everything I tell them is, you don't need to understand how it works, but you need to be able to explain why it's important and
Yeah.
why it matters. And I think that kind of same thing happens here. It doesn't have to be about your technical understanding of what a data center is.
Yeah.
For some people,
Yeah.
absolutely. But there's so many roles and there's so many ways that people can come into this industry that you don't have to be technical.
Yeah. I mean, I am certainly yeah.
A case
Yeah.
example of that.
Oh, I mean, honestly, yeah, do not ask me to do something technical, but that is so true. There is, I mean, an untapped amount of different ways in which you can connect to this industry and find
Yeah.
a role. I mean, take Gen Plus One.
Yeah.
Gen Plus One is an initiative that Kao Data sponsor, and it is solely focused on young people building a network in this space. And they are so brilliant as a team in terms of building the awareness
Yeah.
and engaging younger people. And that girl who is running that, she was a teacher for, SEN children.
Yeah.
It completely didn't have any kind of
Technical
direct
background.
connection.
Yeah.
Not even that
Yeah.
she worked loosely in tech marketing, which we both do.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was completely different. So yeah, I just think what I would like to say is don't be judgmental about it.
Right. Right.
I don't write it off because there will be something,
Yeah.
whether it's legal or if it is engineering.
Yeah.
It's there's a home for you here.
So let's take it a slightly different direction. What inspired Kao Data to come up with this idea for critical careers?
Well, I mean, there's no getting away from it. There's such a skill shortage.
Yeah.
I don't want to say this, but it's also an incredibly one-dimensional industry.
Yeah.
It has, because of its sort of keeping its head below the power pit, it has been somewhat secretive. It has been middle-aged white males that have driven it. And that's not to say I work with an amazing amount of middle-aged white males, and I'm not being judgmental at all. But essentially, with progress, you need diversity.
Yeah.
And you need a range of opinions. And you need a completely different spectrum of people to solve challenges that you might not even be aware of what they are yet.
Right.
So that was the motivation behind it, really. We wanted it to be a collaborative effort across the industry. That's why we have our competitors in there.
Yeah.
Because this isn't like a marketing push for us. This is a mission.
Yeah.
This is mission critical infrastructure, and this is the mission to support its future and support its future success.
Yeah.
So I think particularly why we started with women is because as a woman, you can kind of feel a little bit intimidated when you see a room full of men. You're at in a meeting and it's men. Sometimes I find that challenging.
Yeah.
So the book was to evidence that, okay, we're in the minority, but there is women at every single different table and every single different level and every single different discipline. So I wanted the book to be kind of aspirational, that you picked up those pages and you're like, yeah, but I'm a lawyer and I work in like real estate. What have I got to do with it? Oh, well, there you go. There's a perfect transition.
Yeah.
Or I'm in a role that I really hate.
Yeah.
And I want something different.
Yeah.
But I have nowhere to start. And I'm just constantly fed a stream of the same sort of thing. Well, pick up our book because there'll be a spot for you and there'll be a place for you.
Yeah, I do think that's the case. I do think there is so much there are so many different types of people represented in the book that I think it is easy to find someone who's either some of what their story is resonates with you, what they do career-wise resonates with you. I mean, regardless of what it is, like I think there's so many different entry points to
Definitely.
understanding what the paths are and what are available for people. So
Completely. I mean, it's just that it's that global reach as well, and
Yeah.
that connectivity.
Yeah.
It's so funny because they're all elements that make up an actual digital
Yeah.
infrastructure building,
Yeah.
but it's relevant
Yeah.
to this
And
path.
I think too, like your point about like the global talent shortage, it's a real
Yeah, it's
issue.
a
I
real
mean,
issue.
I think it was the 2023 Uptime
Mhm.
Institute career survey
Mhm.
report or something where they talked about over the next several years, which is kind of where we're at now. They were projecting a deficit of 300,000 jobs
Yeah.
in the data center
Yeah.
industry because of growth, because of just, expansion, and because of people retiring out of the industry. And that survey came out before AI.
Yes.
It kinda hit the
Yeah, but
scene in
about
a
hit the big
big way,
time. Yeah.
and now with all of those things, that is, exploding even
Yeah.
more,
I was
and
looking for those stats recently, actually, and all I could find there was 300,000 shortage in jobs by 2025.
Yeah.
And I thought, but that was before everyone started using ChatGPT and
Right.
all this,
Exactly.
and there's this explosion. So I would love to know what those updated stats were. Please email into Critical Careers if you know the updated stats. But it's it's frightening
Yeah.
because, as you said, people are retiring. We're losing that knowledge.
Yeah.
I hope we're supporting that
Yeah. Oh, I think it
through this
absolutely does.
initiative,
Absolutely does.
but we need more.
Because it just helps people understand more about it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm such a firm believer in stories carry so much weight, and hearing your story of how you got here and thinking about my own story of even though I have been in tech marketing, like everybody else, I kind of stumbled into data centers. I happened to have a client who was in the industry. Lo and behold, here I am 15 years later, which is a frighteningly large number. But
It clearly suits you, though.
but it clearly does, and I think that to me was part of what was interesting about the conversations that I had in writing the book was
Yeah.
seeing my own story reflected back to me, seeing other women say, "Hey, I kind of stumbled into this, but you know what? We all found a place here, and there's something that resonated." And
Mm.
occasionally I've had some glimpses of what friends or colleagues in other industries have experienced, and I've always kind of went, "Wow, that's not been my
Yeah.
own experience." And I know, but I just kind of assumed it was me. I didn't really think a lot
I think
about it.
we've spoken about this before, but I feel so fortunate
Yeah,
because I do have prior experience of an industry that was
not friendly.
toxic.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, not friendly, didn't champion women, was very male dominated, but in a very terrible way. So I have that firsthand experience, and now I am a part of this. Yeah, I do feel a little bit guilty to a
yeah,
degree
yeah,
because there is so much support.
yeah.
But then I think I take a step back and I think, well, if we're building the future because we're building these buildings, progress has to start with us.
Right, right. And building a supportive community
Yeah.
to do that. Let's do more of it because
Yeah.
it's whether it's women, whether it's other groups, whether it's for young people, whether it's for whatever the demographic is. There's like if everybody feels like they belong, then my gosh, what is this industry
And
going to
there's
be able to
such an
do?
appetite for it.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't think I don't know where. I mean, we need each other.
yeah,
We're
yeah,
so interconnected in more ways, obviously, than just the physical element of it. We're so interconnected, interdependent. We need each other. We need to be like one family. But it's yeah, it's just crucial to our individual, but also our collective success.
yeah.
Yeah, we need each other.
Yeah, and I mean, and it's what's so interesting, and this came up a couple times and stuff in the conversations as well, was about how with all of the things we're our industry touches in terms of like the technology of what we're enabling to have happen. Like you said, on the health, care side of it, on the sciences side of it, on, sports and entertainment and things
Yeah.
that, like are just fun
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
maybe not life critical, but are
No.
such a big part of
Yeah,
people's lives.
absolutely.
You need alternate perspectives
Yeah.
to come in and to help make that so that it appeals to everybody or works for everybody.
Yes.
One perspective, regardless of whose perspective it is. If it's just a male perspective or just a female perspective, you're going to miss out on 50% of the population, and
Definitely, at
how
least.
something works for them.
Yeah, and you
So,
can be the most informed person, well-rounded person, but
yeah,
ultimately you need to be challenged. You need that collaboration to effect change, really, and progress
yeah, yeah,
and the future.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. for the folks that are listening to us today, what are you hoping that the listeners or even the people that have come across critical careers, through their social media accounts or through word of mouth or whatever, what are you really hoping that they take away from it?
I hope that we've been able to challenge some of the kind of misnomers and opinions that are seeming to get the cut through with the general public. I hope for once someone's just picked up the book or listened to one of these podcasts or come to an event and just wanted to find out a little bit more.
Yeah.
I hope that we are able to inspire more women to
Yeah.
consider a career in digital infrastructure, not just women, anybody to consider a
Right.
career in digital infrastructure. Fundamentally, that's the mission of the book. But what I really would love it to do is for people to engage and people to feel connected, because it's amazing that we work in this industry, but there's so many different jobs that are facilitated because of this industry. But ultimately, this industry only exists because as a human race,
Yeah.
we're engaging the entire time with this digital world.
Yeah.
So feeling a part of it and feeling a part of the conversation,
Sure.
because whether you like it or not, you're a part of the you're listening to this now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, this is only possible because of a data center
Yeah.
somewhere. So yeah, that connection to it, really, that individual connection.
Sure.
That's what I would really love.
Yeah. Yeah. So what do you think Critical Careers is going to be able to do to help solve the pipeline, the talent pipeline issue?
I mean, it's gained a lot of momentum. We've been incredibly privileged with that. We have had phenomenal response because mainly, we've had featured some incredible women.
Right.
It has been written by an incredible woman.
Thank you.
So naturally that has a ripple effect.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, I mean, to be quite honest, when Adam and I were sat in a coffee shop this time last year and Adam came up with this idea, I thought it was insane. But as ever, obviously, it was quite clearly grounded in genius, as is most
I was going to say
Mr. Neverthought
yeah.
ideas.
It just quite
Yeah.
simply was a brilliant
Yes,
idea.
it
So
was.
yeah.
But anyway, regardless, we made it happen.
But I do think you bring up a really good point about the women who took the time to have the conversation with me, to really share their stories.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, there are incredible women in
Yeah.
this industry. We were so fortunate to have these 30 women come back and say yes to participating.
We were so blessed.
Yeah, and how many of them just felt honored
Yeah.
to be asked. But I hope they can really understand and really appreciate that by them being vulnerable, opening up themselves up, telling their stories, sharing their thoughts, the amount of just pure wisdom that I heard on those 30 different phone calls, I wish I could just
Bottle it.
bottle it
Yeah.
all up. No joke. I came off of every single interview just practically skipping down
Yeah.
the stairs, in my house, because they were so uplifting, they were so encouraging, they were so inspirational. And I think it just having a moment for us to thank them for participating, because
Yeah.
they have been so instrumental in
I-
making this happen.
It wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for them.
Yeah.
They are crucial.
Yeah.
They are the secret sauce as to why this
Absolutely.
was as successful as it is. And these, in the book, we featured some pretty senior women.
Yeah.
These are heavy hitters.
Yeah.
And they were so candid
Yeah.
and so generous with their time
Yeah.
to devote to this project for the only reason was to encourage more women to consider it as a career.
Yes.
And I think, how wonderful is that?
Absolutely.
But it also indicative of this industry.
Yeah.
The amount of times you go, I'm a bit stuck. I need a bit of help. I need a bit of support.
Yeah.
And there's always someone there to help you. There's always someone there to go, it's okay. We can sort it out. We'll solve it together. And I think that was what this book really showcased.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. It really did. And I think that was a really common sentiment that people expressed, is that they feel supported. They feel like they can ask questions and not have people have any sort of, adverse reaction to
No.
that, not think less of them. I mean, in fact, they tend to think more of them, because it shows their curiosity and their willingness to learn. So yeah, absolutely. I mean, they were phenomenal in just sharing those insights, and I think, helping everybody see a little bit of themselves
Yeah.
in that storyline.
Definitely. I mean, yeah, it was a it kind of became this shared mission that we all united behind together. So
Yeah.
absolutely huge shout out to those women. Thank you so much for making it so successful. But hopefully they have that shared sense of ownership with
Yeah,
this.
I hope so too. Yeah, I
Yeah.
really do. So for people who are listening, if they want to get involved or they want to learn more, what's the best way for them to do that?
Head on to our website, critical-careers.com, download a copy of our book, engage with that, read that. If you think that you have a valued opinion or you know somebody who is vital, and you'd like them to be a part of this mission, please get in touch with us.
Yeah.
There's an info box, or you can send an email. And yeah, like and subscribe to this podcast.
You did my job for me. Well, Lizzy, thank you so much. It's been great talking with you today. It's always great talking with you, but today was great to kind of, I know you and I are both so equally passionate about this topic. That's part of what, I think has sustained us through this last year of all of the craziness and lead up to the launch back in June. But yeah, it's been great having you here today
It's been
to talk with us.
Complete pleasure.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Critical Careers. A special thank you to our sponsor, CBRE, for their support in helping us share the stories of the people shaping the future of digital infrastructure. To learn more about CBRE, visit www.cbre.com. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to like, share, and follow the podcast. Thanks for listening.